All right. So gonna make a quick video here, just covering just some thoughts from week one and some a Thursday night football pick. So I get it in time, um, and then I'll make another video on Friday, just covering some of the Sunday picks. I have some ideas in mind, but the spreads are moving my way anyway. I'm kind of picking a few underdogs, so we'll let that develop a little bit longer. So week one thoughts. So I knew this was going to happen. I was going to take too many bets here, too many sure things that just kind of go awry, and weird things happen in week one. Starting with some things that did not go my way. Broncos losing to the Seahawks Monday Night Football. I'm sure if any of you guys were in Survivor leagues, this probably burned about half of your people. Did not see that coming. Kind of ridiculous, but it kind of works out because, I lost this week, but I do feel a little bit justified in kind of fading the Broncos as not being as good as people think. Yeah, it was 1 week, but Nathaniel Hackett, I don't think I mentioned it in my logic, but Nathaniel Hackett was a reason why I was also not super hot on the Broncos because his claim to fame, he was the quarterback's coach for Aaron Rodgers. Well, I could be the quarterback's coach for Aaron Rodgers. Isn't that kind of how Adam Gase got his start with Peyton Manning? But anyway, I didn't have a lot of faith. Whenever it's like a quarterback's coach coming from a good quarterback, it's like, okay, how much is that you, and how much do you just have a good offense because you work with a stud, someone who's going to win MVPs. So I kind of was doubting his coaching ability. Another one that didn't go my way, 49ers, Bears. So a lot of this had to do with the weather. Seemed like in the first half it was going to go exactly as I predicted, and then second half, I don't know what happened. I wasn't really watching, but it looked like they were playing in a pool, so hard to put a whole lot of stock in that. I wouldn't be afraid to go right back to 49. If they played again this week, I'd take 49ers again by a lot, but things happen. Week one was weird. Two other teams that disappointed me were the Eagles against the Lions, and then the Titans against the Giants. How the Titans lost to the Giants, I'm not really sure. That's kind of all I have to say about that. Eagles, I have a little bit more to say because they allowed 35 points. I expected that defense to be pretty good, and it's 1 week, so they have a chance to be much better than they were. So I was pretty disappointed with how they let the Lions really get back in that game and come back and cover the spread by 1.5 points. It's like they weren't thinking about me. Some picks that went my way. The Ravens, Jets went exactly as I expected. Joe Flacco just in 2022 is not the same kind of elite quarterback that won the Super Bowl with Anquan Bolden. Another pick I felt pretty good about nailing was Texans versus the Colts. So the Texans, I think they were +7, +7.5 is what I had them at. They end up tying that game, really giving the Colts a run for their money. And you know what I say, the Colts, they got a lot of choke in them, especially week one, not showing up, division opponent. That's a little feather in my cap. Felt pretty good about that. And then the Browns, Panthers. I think the Panthers kind of gave it a run towards the end, but remember the Browns were underdogs in this game, which, some places they were pick'em, some places they were, not. They were the favorite, but that defense is really something, and the run game with Chubb and Hunt, that's going to be enough to win some games, and they have a strong offensive line, so they got a game manager. It's going to limit what they can do, but it's definitely enough to beat bad teams. So week one, I ended up going 4 for 5 on my picks, but I did go 9 for 11 on my prop bets. So I'm not sure how to try to keep that. I'm going to try to keep a tally going throughout the season, how I'm doing, so you guys can choose to follow me or fade me. But, kind of, so I went 4 for 9, 4 right, 5 wrong for my picks. But, not all bets are created equal. I ended up finishing about a unit behind. But then I got 9 of my 11 props correct. So I only got 2 props wrong, and I was up both Randall Cobb bets because he just really didn't show up in week one like I expected him to. So did really well in the props and was able to, make up for it. Ended up finishing like 3 units ahead. And a unit is just whatever like your minimum bet is. So like I put like, so that's kind of the currency that a lot of these betting channels will use. Anyway, moving on. More to progress. I'm not sure how to count it. I'm ahead in the bank count column, but my picks I'm currently one down. And we'll see if I can make it two down, because I might be two down because I picked the Rams in last Thursday Night Football and that didn't go my way. Not a game I would have picked, but I'm going to pick all the primetime games, even when I don't want to. But coming up, Thursday Night Football, going right back to the well. Last Thursday, I picked the home Rams with the points. When two teams face each other, I'm going to want those points. Now we have the Chargers going into Arrowhead to play the Chiefs. Chargers are plus 4-point underdogs. Both the Chargers and the Chiefs played really well in week one. The Chargers played the Raiders, who I think of as a pretty good team. Chiefs played the Cardinals, who I think of as a pretty poor team. And the Chiefs, they put on a show. But I think they were playing a pretty bad team in the Cardinals. It's week one. Andy Reid, he knows what he's doing. Obviously, the Chiefs can still score points, but when you put up these rosters next to each other, the Chargers and the Chiefs, both have stud quarterbacks. The Chargers really just have more weapons on offense, more ways they can hurt you, really solid top to bottom. And on defense, I forgot that Khalil Mack is a Charger now. So you have Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack. And then they got Derwin James and a bunch of other studs in that defense as well. So I think that's really the key to the game here. I think the Chargers defense is just significantly better than the Chiefs defense, significantly better what the Chiefs faced last week. And I think that's going to be the difference maker. I think you're going to see a Patrick Mahomes that looks pretty stressed out, running for his life a little bit. Keenan Allen is out this game for the Chargers, but I think Josh Palmer is a pretty good player. Also, Mike Williams was completely absent in week one, and I expect that to change here in week two. You can never predict when Mike Williams is going to go off, but I'm going to go ahead and predict that against this Chiefs team on Thursday Night Football, Mike Williams is going to have a day. Another thing, J.C. Jackson, one of their corners, is questionable. Not really sure if he's going to play or not, but I still like that Chargers defense, especially that defensive front, to really make it tough on the Chiefs and give them the edge in this game. Also, another thing to note is that the Chiefs, Harrison Butker, the kicker, is not going to be playing on Thursday. I don't know if they're going to have their safety kick for them again, or if they brought in a kicker. I'm guessing they brought in a kicker, but that's something to keep an eye on, especially when you're talking about trying to cover a spread. You never want the one with the backup kicker. And another thing is I just wanted to mention the offensive line for the Chargers is pretty strong. I didn't mention Austin Eckler, who's obviously a versatile, dangerous running back, much better than Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And the Chargers' offensive line I think, is significantly better than the Chiefs. They got Rashawn Slater, who I wished would have been a Viking, but he's been good for them at tackle. They invested in Corey Linsley at center. He was a Pro Bowl guard for the Packers. And then they drafted Zion Johnson, a first-round guard, who seems to be playing pretty well right off the gate. I'm not sure. I don't know much about the other two players, but I think their offensive line is very good, and the Chiefs' defense is still trotting out Frank Clark as their real, guy to really get after it. So I think the Chargers, with Herbert plus that roster, I think that's greater than Mahomes plus the roster he's got coming out there. They really don't have a whole lot of weapons other than Travis Kelce, however you want to say it. So I'm taking the Chargers and the points, going back to the well with take the points when two good teams play, and we'll see if you stay consistent with some of these strategies. They should work out for you in the long run, even if they burn you sometimes. So that's all I got for today.